Hey everyone, it's Sydney with Sydney Studio. If you're new to my channel, I love creating and I love making things, whether it's through fiber arts like crochet or knitting or rug making, or if it's in the digital space with creating in 3D like for urban planning or for design. Today I'm getting into a tutorial focused on a crochet stitch that looks a lot like a knit stitch, like stockinette stitch. And I've recently been going down a rabbit hole of trying to find a way to make some of these patterns that I'm working on look like I was knitting, even though I'm working in crochet. So that's where all of this stems from, and I finally landed on this stitch that we're going to be learning about, which is called the faux knit stitch. This tutorial is going to be very beginner friendly. We are going to be starting from the very beginning, so if you're new, don't worry, I've got you, and let's go ahead and dive in. So first things first, we are going to need just 2 items for our materials today. So the first item is importantly going to be our crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. And the other item that we are going to need is, of course, our yarn. So I have some brightly colored yarn here that will be easier for us to follow along with in this tutorial. But the most important thing here is to have a yarn, weight, and a crochet hook size that makes sense together. Okay, so we've got our 4mm hook in this case, and I've got this medium weight yarn that I've already pulled out some length for myself to work with here. All right, so these are going to be the 2 materials that we'll want. So go ahead and grab those materials and we will dive into our next step. All right, so with our materials together, next we need to create our slip knot. This is how we are going to get started with this stitch and with every crochet stitch that we work with. And so in order to create a slip knot, there are some different ways to do it. I will teach you my method. So we are going to take the yarn around these 2 fingers, create an X, like so. And then between those 2 fingers, I'm going to pull up a loop of that yarn. And we can tighten it here. And this is going to create our slip knot. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. So we're going to take our yarn around these 2 fingers to create an X, and then we are going to pull our yarn through to create that slip knot. All right, we'll go ahead and just make sure that our knot is an appropriate size for us to begin working, which should look something like this. All right. And then the next thing that we need to be thinking about is how we will be holding our yarn and then also our crochet hook, and really how we're going to hold tension in our yarn. So I am both a knitter and a crocheter, and so I do hold my yarn in a way that's a little bit informed by my knitting. You can hold your yarn in any fashion that feels most comfortable to you. I will show you my own method here. So I like to go ahead and wrap my yarn around my pinky like so, and then I go over, under, over, and this gives me the tension that I'm looking for. All right, I'll show that one more time here. So I like to take the yarn around my pinky, and then I go over, under, then over my pointer finger to get us a setup that looks like this. Go ahead and give that a try. If you have a different way to hold your yarn, that's fantastic. Just know that it gets more comfortable as you go, and you will become familiar with the best method for yourself. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our next step, which is going to be creating our first chain. And I'd like us to go ahead and chain 15 in this case. So in order to do so, we are going to yarn over our hook and pull through. All right, so yarn over and pull through the loop on your crochet needle. So that's 2, 3, 4. So yarn over and pull through, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so then we should be working with our first chain. That looks a little something like this. It does not need to be perfect. We're not aiming for perfection today, just to learn a new stitch that you can apply to your projects, all right? So go ahead and get your 15 stitches, and then we will meet here for our next step. All right, so once we have our 15 stitches in our chain, we are next going to go ahead and do one more stitch. All right, and then we are going to get into this faux knit stitch itself. So another name for this stitch is called the yarn over back loop only slip stitch. You don't need to remember that. I'll go ahead and pull it up on screen for you if you're interested, but that is going to be roughly the process that we follow for this stitch, all right? So let's go ahead and give it a try. We're going to go ahead and yarn over our hook, and we are then going to put our hook into the second stitch from the hook. So this is the first one, here's the second one here. So we're going to go ahead and put our hook through the back loop only, and then we are going to pull our yarn through, and because this is a slip stitch, we are then going to pull that loop through the other two loops already on our hook, right? So it's a slip stitch. So let's go ahead and try that again. So we yarn over our hook, and we go into our next stitch, back loop only, yarn over again and pull through, and then pull that stitch through both of the loops on your hook. So we'll go ahead and follow that process through again. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to put our hook through the next stitch, yarn over again and pull through, and then pull that loop through the two loops on your hook. All right. So let's go ahead and keep going together. Yarn over through the next stitch, pull that yarn through, and then pull it through the two loops on your hook. Yarn over through the next stitch, yarn over again, pull that loop through, and then pull it through the two loops on your hook. All right, so we're going to carry that through the rest of our stitches, and we'll meet again here at the end. All right, so here I am at the end of that chain. I've I've done all of my 15. And so the next step here is going to be to chain one more. And then we are going to turn our work, all right? So we're going to turn it over so that we're working back down this same chain, all right? So what we've just created, we're going to turn, and now we're going to work into those new stitches. All right. So then we follow the same process. So here we are, we're going to yarn over, and then our second stitch from the hook, so that's the first one, here's the second one, we're going to go ahead and put our crochet hook through the back leg or the back loop only, grab that yarn, pull through, and then pull through both of the loops on the hook. All right, so we're going to yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through, and then pull it through both of the loops on the hook. So let's go ahead and try that a few more times. So we are going to yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through, and pull it through. Yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through, and pull the yarn through. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going all the way back down to the end, and we'll meet again at that point. All right, so I'm on my last stitch. So I'll show you that again. So for the last stitch, just like every other one, we are going to yarn over and find that back loop, pull the yarn through, and then pull it through both of the loops on the hook. All right, and so again, we're here at the end of that chain. We're going to go ahead and create one more stitch. Then we are going to turn our work so we can work into those new stitches again that we've just created. So let's go ahead and do all of the 15 again together. So again, we're going to yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through, and pull it through. So let's go ahead and do the rest of this row, and we'll come back together for the turn. If you need to pull more yarn for yourself, go ahead and do that. I like to have a lot of working yarn available to me. All right, and I'm on my final stitch in this row, so we are going to go ahead and yarn over, find that back loop, pull the yarn through, and then pull it through those 2 loops again. All right, so we're starting to see something take place here. So we can see that we've got what almost looks like the same kind of V that you can get when you are knitting a rib stitch, right? If we're doing stockinette. So we can see that V starting to come through and see what nice ribbing that we will be able to achieve. So again, before we turn our work, we need to go ahead and do 1 more stitch. And we are going to go ahead and turn our work, and we're going to continue working back into those new stitches for this new row. Okay, so again, we're going to yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through, and pull it through. So let's go ahead and keep working these rows together. I'm going to work to get a little rectangle completed for today's tutorial. So we can go ahead and work together and meet back at the end to see the success of our work. And feel free to go a little faster as you get more comfortable, or take it slow. Whatever you need to do, just go ahead and find that speed that suits you for this stitch. So you can see you can get into a pretty good flow with this stitch. If you're working with a yarn that has kind of individual fibers, like you can see I am, sometimes you might find yourself getting a little caught up. That's okay. It's no big deal if you need to adjust as you go. All right, so at the end of this row again, that last stitch, back loop, yarn through those 2 loops. Look how nicely that's coming together. You can see the ribbing really taking shape. All right, so 1 more stitch, turn our work, and we'll continue. Yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through those 2 loops. Okay, 1 more stitch, turn our work, Pull out some more yarn. Something about this stitch you might have noticed, I like to rotate my hook to the back to pull through those 2 loops on my hook. I find it a lot easier. You may find that's not the case for you and that you can keep your hook to the front the whole time. Just like I did there, I'll show you that a couple of times as well. Yarn over, back loop, pull the yarn through, and then pull the yarn through without rotating your hook. Really, it's just whatever's most comfortable to you. I find this way I don't have to repeat or go back as much. Things usually go a little bit more smoothly for me if I do it this way. But it's no stress. Whatever works best for you. Right, and sometimes with that last stitch, you might just find that you need to wiggle your way to find that back loop like I did just then. That's okay. Wow, it's really coming together. Love how that looks. Right, one more stitch, turn our work. I'm curious in the comments if anyone is both a knitter and a crocheter. Which did you start with? Are you like me? Maybe you started with knitting and have really grown to appreciate the flexibility that crochet can offer as well, or maybe you started with crochet and you've grown into being a knitter too. I found that there's a lot of benefit to knowing how to do both. But for a long time, I just was only a knitter. I think a couple more rows. Turn that work. I think maybe one more row. All right, so there you have it. Go ahead and take a look at your work. You can see we've got this really nice and stretchy ribbed knit look we've created with crochet. So you can see, if we look up close, we've got those lovely V's here, and it really does look like that stockinette stitch, right? It looks like a rib where you've got a knit, purl, knit, purl. I just think it's so cool. And you can feel it's just so, you squish it, it's so squishy, it's so nice. So that's it, that's our faux knit crochet stitch. We have our little swatch here. Now you can be thinking about what projects you'd like to use this for. If you want to go ahead and tie it off, you could do one more stitch if you would like, and then go ahead and tighten that up. And if you are all done, you can go ahead and cut your yarn. And this is our faux knit stitch. Okay, go ahead and let me know what projects you are going to apply this stitch to. I'll go ahead and show you what I've been working on recently where I've been able to use this faux knit stitch. All right, so now that we've learned how to work in this stitch, the faux knit stitch, I wanted to show you an example of how you can use this stitch. So this is a cardigan. This is a cardigan pattern that I'm working on. It's in the process, so I'm currently working on the sleeves. And I just wanted to show you how that's working out so far. I've been really pleased with the texture. It's like squishy, and it just feels really good and has a nice weight to it. So start thinking about the projects that you'd like to leverage this stitch for, and once I have that pattern ready, I will be sharing it. I'm going to make a video about it too, so you can follow along with me on how I've applied this stitch to an actual wearable piece of fiber art. So look forward to that next tutorial, and you can go ahead and follow me if you want to be updated about that, and give this video a like too. It really helps the channel out. Get creating, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.